pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Maria Mills-Gillette. Bill Moken.
Here.
Tom Jordan. John Joseph.
Here.
Aaron White.
Here.
Lance Green.
Here.
Stan Schmidt.
All right, sorry about the delay, folks. Can I get a consideration of the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion to approve. All those that signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Good with that? All right. Item 4, PUD amendment, the 7th Amendment to the Master Development Agreement for Crystal Lake. Go for it.
All right. Would you guys like to make the motions prior to?
Go ahead and make the motion.
Can I get a motion to open this?
Make a motion to open case number 22-40000001.
Second.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. The first item is the 7th Amendment to the Master Development Agreement for the Crystal Lake Plan Unit Development, which is proposed to remove the requirement that access must be provided through lots 12 and lot 14 of the Crystal Lake Plan Unit Development. So as shown on screen, lot 12 is a legacy at Crystal Lake Apartments, and lot 14 is the Eden at Crystal Lake Apartments that are currently under construction. So the Crystal Lake MDA was approved by City Council in 2000 to establish a mixed-use development with a common design theme throughout, along with a provision that a common drive must connect Clyde Morris Boulevard and Reed Canal Road as the development of residential occurs on these lots. So the requested 7th Amendment is to allow the residential development on lot 14, Eden at Crystal Lake Apartments, to have a gated entrance on Reed Canal Road that's equipped with emergency access, and to have an emergency access gate between lots 12 and 14. Both of these gates would be designed to allow emergency personnel to access both lots from either Clyde Morris Boulevard or Reed Canal Road in the event of an emergency. According to the applicant, the request to have the gate at Reed Canal Road and between the two lots is so that Eden at Crystal Lake Apartments can be a private gated community. They also noted that these lots are no longer under the same ownership and do not have the same design and product type, so the interconnection between the parcels is no longer being considered as essential when compared to the original vision of the Crystal Lake Plan Unit Development as a multifamily development under unified ownership. So the applicant also indicated that since both lots 12 and 14 were not developed together and do not have similar design layouts, the existing design of the parking lot and access drives and overall concept is no longer conducive to serve as a collector or connector road between two arterial roads. The Land Development Code does not prohibit the installation of gates for multifamily developments. However, since the Crystal Lake Plan Unit Development states that common access must be provided through lots 12 and 14, the proposed amendment to the MDA is required to remove that requirement. And I would like to note that it's not uncommon for multifamily developments to have gated access, and there are several examples that can be found throughout the city. So overall, the only proposed change to the MDA is the addition of a gated access for the Eden at Crystal Lake Apartments for emergency access, and then the addition of the emergency access between the two lots. It doesn't change the current access for the legacy of Crystal Lakes Apartments from Clyde Morris Boulevard, nor does it change the permitted uses or any other development requirement in the PUD. So with that, it concludes the presentation. A member of the applicant's team is here and can answer any questions.
All right, stand by. Comments, questions of the staff, Newt?
The proposed gate between the two developments would be a crash gate for emergency use only, or would it provide access for the residents of Eden?
It would only be for emergency access. So there might be like a Knox box or something. So if there was a emergency call, they can get to where they need to get to.
Fire departments, EMTs. All that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
do they look at this prior to, during this submission? Does the fire department look at this, and has the fire department commented on this? Or
So we sent it out to SDRC and fire, police, among other agencies, and then we didn't receive any positive or negative comments.
Okay. Bo?
No.
All right, so we'll listen to the applicant.
Good evening, Joey Posey, 420 South Nova, attorney at the Storch Law Firm, and I'm just briefly going to comment that I removing this requirement I think makes some sense. Just you have the existing development to the south, you have the existing development to the north, and that interconnectivity. It just, although it may have been contemplated initially, doesn't quite make sense anymore. And this probably feels like it's a better solution, given that I don't think you want the northern property also dumping its traffic onto Reed Canal either. So. Other than that, I'm here to answer any questions, and it's a fairly straightforward amendment, so, and I appreciate it, so.
Questions, Bo?
No.
Johnny?
Nope.
Yep. I don't have any. Okay. Anybody from the public care to come up and speak about this? All right, any further questions, any further comments? We have a motion on the table and a second. Will you call the roll?
Sure. Bo Boatman?
Yes.
John Junko?
Yes.
Newton White?
Yes.
Lance Green?
Yes.
The next two, you can open the next two up together.
Okay.
And they just need separate motion.
Okay. All right, we are going to open the next two together.
Yeah.
Um,
Interlinked.
And we are, come on, baby. All right, so if I can get a motion to open the next two cases,
And they need separate motions.
separate
please.
motions, please. Can I get a motion on the first one, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay.
Newton, give Newton a second.
We're just
Okay.
a little slow.
And can I get a motion on the next item, please? To open the next item?
And
Move to
scroll down.
approve case number 21500000003, subdivision plat, Town West subdivision.
I'll
No,
second that.
no,
No.
I'm sorry to interject.
No, no, that's not it.
So I would suggest clarifying the first motion
Yeah.
with actually reading it for item number 5, which is a rezoning of 950 Madeline. So-
Okay.
And then do
Yeah.
the motion for the item 6.
Okay, so Bo, could I get you to redo your motion, please?
Yeah, I have to have a copy. I didn't have time to
Okay.
get my copies.
All right, so Newt, can you give me that motion? Can he make the motion? He doesn't have his,
If I got the right
paperwork with him.
Is this the TNT 950 Madeline?
950.
Number 5, yeah.
Move to, should I move to approve? Or will I
Well, who
move?
made the
Hold on,
motion?
here he is, hold on.
Okay,
he's got
let
it.
Bo-
All right, go, Bo.
Move to-
Doesn't have his glasses on.
Okay, I move to approve case number 600000004.
Okay.
I have 7.
You're on the wrong one, man.
You're on the wrong one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm on the wrong.
Item number
Yeah.
5. All right, so we have a motion and a second on that, Robin.
Correct.
Okay, if I can go to the next one, please.
I think this is the one you're talking about, Newt.
And this one is the special exception for at the same property,
Okay.
just to clarify.
Can I get a motion?
Okay, I opened one, so I
It
opened.
was the wrong one.
Okay, this is the special exception mini warehouse and
Yes.
motor vehicle
Yes.
boat storage, case
Yes.
number 22700000001. Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you.
We got it all together
Okay.
tonight.
Thank you.
That was a sweat. I got a little beat
That's a
sweat on
little
that
work.
one.
That's the one I opened.
All right.
So,
Gwen Perney, planner. So the first case that you opened was a rezoning. The applicant is requesting a rezone about 8.3 acres from multifamily to community commercial. And if approved, the applicant intends to submit a site plan for review for a self-storage facility and subdivision plot to create a 1/2 acre out parcel. The current future land use on the property is commercial, and the current zoning on that is medium density multifamily residential. and the applicant is requesting to rezone to the community commercial zoning category to be consistent with the future land use. Based on the proposed concept plan, the development would be able to meet the requirements of the Land Development Code and not require the PCD zoning designation, so that is why they are requesting the community commercial zoning. The applicant has also applied concurrently for a special exception for the self-storage use, which is permitted in the community commercial zoning district with a special exception. The staff has reviewed the rezoning for consistency with the comprehensive plan and Land Development Code and is recommending approval. And then do you want me to go ahead and go on to the special exception?
Yes.
Okay. So concurrently with that, the applicant has applied for the special exception request for mini warehouse and vehicle and boat storage on the property. Again, it's consistent with the zoning category for community commercial. The development would include a 3-story self-storage building, 3 one-story mini warehouse surrounding that 3-story building with screening walls to fill in the gaps, as well as security gates, and then some RV boat storage in the middle of the compound, as well as the stormwater retention, landscape buffers, and tree preservation area. The property size, location, buffering, screening, traffic and parking, and business operations are all able to meet the special exception criteria listed in the code. Staff has reviewed the applicant's request and proposed concept layout and has determined the site's able to meet the criteria and is recommending approval.
So it needs a special exception to be able to have boats because the the CC does not allow it?
Yeah, CC zoning has a specific list of permitted uses and special exception uses, and this is one of the uses listed on the special, well, actually the 2 uses are listed as special exceptions, so they have to get the separate approval. Even if they rezone the property to community commercial, they have to have a separate approval to allow the storage.
And then the CC zoning allows for that out parcel to be potentially retail, a drive-through, or?
Yeah, in your staff report, there's a list of permitted uses, so it's general commercial, anything that's found there along Nova Road, such as, the retail, could be a gas station, could be offices, medical office, that sort of thing.
Okay. No questions?
How big was that
Staff?
out parcel?
It's about 1.5 acres.
1.5 acres. Pretty sizable.
Wow. Johnny?
No, and I guess this is a package deal, so pending the approval of case 22-600000004, with approval of that, then it'll lead to most likely approval of the second attachment.
The rezoning needs to be
Okay,
approved
yeah,
first.
okay.
In the current zoning as residential, how many units would be allowed on there residentially?
I don't have that information in front of me. I think it's
8 to 12, right?
It's
typically?
8 to 12, and the property is around 8 acres. So
Right, right.
I can't do math right now.
Bo, any questions of staff?
No, it's just quite a departure from what it's been in the past, obviously, but I don't have any questions other than, it just seems to be a little bit intrusive compared to the rest of the area around there, but, zoning allows it.
Well, it's not zoned that yet, and I'm just.
I mean,
don't
that
think it's not
zoning
wrong,
will allow
but-
it, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll listen to the presentation.
Plug this in before, I apologize. Appreciate it, thank you. Good evening again, Joey Posey, 420 South Nova, attorney for the applicant. And I guess just to start off, I know this is a big change because of, the history of the property, the farm, what it's always been. For a long time, it really hasn't, I don't think, done anybody any favors for what it's currently being used because it used to be a very nice farm. So, what we're trying to accomplish here is something that, one, working with the neighbors, saying, guys, given what could be out there, what can possibly be out there, what the market's telling us, how do we make it so we can keep the traffic down, make it so it's a complement to the neighborhoods, and that's the goal we went into this with. And I think that's when I get through this presentation, we're going to see how that's evolved and how we got there and why we think this is the best approach to handling this. So, I know this is a little bit of a change, but it can be changed for the better in a lot of cases, and especially since we had a bunch of neighbors come out to the meeting, and you can tell that we actually had a good meeting. That they understood where we were coming from, what could possibly be out there, and also how this could help them. So, given that's the case, I guess I'll just start and go through it. That you currently have a zoning that's R3M multifamily, which I think, as we mentioned earlier, can be up to 12 gross units per acre, which equates to about 100 multifamily units. And I'm not saying that as if we're going to be the ones to do it, but I do know of applications, and I will show you one that actually was contemplated for that they thought 100 multifamily units would be an appropriate use on that property. It's commercial. I'm not sure how we got to the 3M category with the commercial. I'm not really 100% how we got there, but given that it's on the Nova corridor and it is there at that intersection, commercial does make some sense. So I can understand that part of it. I don't quite understand how we got to the zoning, but that's what we're dealing with. The proposal, as Gwen had mentioned, is a rezoning to community commercial and approval of the special exception together with it. So I know we started out, I think I'd heard 1.5 acres. It's actually closer to 2. Some of it has to do with the stormwater pond, and the plan you see here, we've been tweaking it. So it's a little bit of a change. Stormwater pond's a little smaller, and you can see that that we captured some of the area for the out parcel. So it's closer to 2 acres of the out parcel. As staff had mentioned, this is consistent with the comp plan, and also consistent with the LDC requirements that retail sales and services. That's the goal. That's the goal of the comp plan, especially in the commercial category and especially along a major thoroughfare like Nova. And the proposed CC zoning, in my opinion, is a much better use of that property as a commercial category than otherwise a multifamily zoning category. So, given that, it makes sense that this is, I think, just an appropriate change. The special exception requirements, I'm sure you guys know this, that when you're talking about special exception, permitted use if you can meet the conditions, and then it comes through the process to see, so we can show you guys what we're up to. So in a little bit you're going to see the project and see a lot of the design and how great this design is. So when it comes to storage, there's a number of ways to do it, but this is a climate controlled building. It's a very nice building. It's boat and RV, and a little bit of boat and RV on the outside, and it's not a big traffic generator. Given all commercial uses possible, I think it's the lowest. It's a low one. And the other part that we've tried to be conscious of is the landscaping. We don't want this to be a big monolithic looking building. There's an offset with the first 1-story little buildings that are used as the wall buffer, along with the vegetation. So you have both a wall that's blocking sound off of Nova, and you also have the vegetation that's acting as that shield. And part of this too, we have no intention of trying to clear Jackson Street. That was something we made a commitment to the neighbors. None of that's going to be touched. We're not trying to touch that. There's going to be some city right-of-way out there off of Madeline that we're donating to. We're not looking to clear that either. So it's going to be, until something changes, it's going to be city right-of-way with landscape, with the existing vegetation, plus the landscape buffer, and then even further back is the building. So there's a lot of landscaping that's going into this, and also the tree preservation area. There's a number of historic trees out there that we're trying to preserve. That's the whole point of capturing that large tree preservation area. It's a little bit advantageous to us because you obviously don't want to get rid of those trees because they can be an amenity too, but it's something we don't want to impact either. Again, this is a very quiet neighborhood. You get, when folks use these facilities, it's not very often. It's pretty much to put your stuff there, and whenever you want to get your stuff out, that's when you go visit it. Especially in a climate controlled environment, it's usually, set it and forget it. And it's appropriate for the area given all the residential that, with the growth of these HOA communities, and also, just the accumulation of stuff in general, that you got to have somewhere to put it. So given the possibility of what could be there and the uses that are maybe it could be compatible there, that hey, storage makes sense. And it also removes the density that's possible. The design, as I'll get to, it's a great design, helps shield the neighbors, large preservation area, as you can see from the layout. And this is the multifamily plan I was talking about. Again, if you didn't have to rezone it, this is you just go through site plan approval, and you don't get to, there's no public process to this. It's go through, get your multifamily, and then get your approvals. Again, I'm not trying to scare anybody with that process, but again, if you tell one person no, who knows who comes after you. But we don't want to be those people. We want to be these guys. We want to be the nice facility with the landscaping. This doesn't probably do the landscaping justice because the architect thought highlighting the building was the better way to look at this, and in some respects it is. But this is the view from Nova. The office, we tried to make sure that we're not trying to encourage traffic onto Madeline there, that if we have the office out on the frontage on Nova, that'd be the main prominent access point for the facility. And then you can see how the walls interrelate with the facility, the building, and a little bit of the view of again, this is assuming that you don't have the city right-of-way landscaping or anything in front of it, but the view from Madeline, that it's going to be very nicely landscaped, and you're probably going to have a substantial amount of vegetation beyond this out on Madeline, so it'd be very hard to notice. And again, it's offset with that. You have the wall with the one-story buildings, and then you have the main facility with the climate control, which that was part of how the design was worked out, trying to centralize this, not shifting it to a boundary. And really, that's the long and the short. It's not a really complicated one. And the neighbors, I don't want to say they're excited, but they bought into this. They understand what could be there and what possibilities are out there, and that this makes some sense. That if you can develop this property in a way that is not intrusive, it doesn't impact the neighbors, and it can complement them, because it's a very nice building with a nice layout. And then the out parcel, you get that retail. Our goal is retail. We're not looking for any of the other uses that would accompany it, but and it's just on that small 2x2 pad, and it's the same zoning as across the street on both corners, I believe. So it's that's kind of what we were thinking with why community commercial would probably be the best choice for being compatible with the existing zoning pattern out there. And other than that, I like the project. It's a great project. So if there's anything we can do better, we're listening, always encouraging, trying to talk to the neighbors, trying to do the best we can to help them too, because some of this is talking about existing drainage, how do we screen it, and just reassuring them that we're good partners too, because you got the developer in the audience here along with the engineer, and they want to be good neighbors too. So if there's anything we can do better, please let me know, and I'm also available for questions.
Is the storage facility itself is actually gated though, right?
Correct.
You don't go into the storage facility unless you're a customer or per se, so then the little road that goes around by the office and around, that's basically going to be for the out parcel, pretty much traffic for the out parcel, if you would, right?
And I maybe have to defer to the developer a little bit here on the surrounding road. Is that, at what point are the gates on, if we're looking at the plan as we see it, at what point do you see the gates? Are they?
They're at the front of the building, if I'm looking at it.
Can y'all see is there a pointer here?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
I don't think they can see that. Okay,
Can
perfect.
I see that? Where is the pointer? I can't see it.
It's in the top left.
Top left. Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay. Let me see if I can get over here without losing it. The reason that we put the office up here on Nova Road is that's where all the activity is for people coming and leasing units and paying for units and all kinds of activity.
Excuse me 1 second. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Excuse me. I'm Philip Hollis with Flagship Companies Group, 1190 Business Center Drive, Lake Mary, Florida.
Thank you. Sorry.
And so the majority of the activity occurs in the office as a commercial, establishment on Nova Road. Nova Road is the bad neighbor that's got the 18 to 25,000 trips per day on it. Madeline is the, 8,000 trips per day or lower level road. When people come to put their stuff in and out, or when the wife comes to change Thanksgiving to the next holiday of the stuff, She can go to an air-conditioned, 24/7 secured facility and do that. She can come in from either the front using this road that you mentioned, or they can go in from Madeline. The gates are on both sides of the 3-story building. Let me try to find my pointer.
Yeah, I see it.
The gates are on both sides of the 3-story building. What that does is that secures a compound of all of the 1-story building all the way around the 3-story building.
Right.
The reason we build our 1-story buildings that way, they become 10 to 12-foot screen walls that are landscaped against next to the neighborhoods on all 3 sides of that building. And the noise and everything of the bad neighbor known as Nova Road is screened by our facility and buffered out so that the neighborhood, to the east becomes a much quieter neighborhood than it was previously. And that's always our goal. And then a significant buffer with the landscape, with the tree preservation area and the stormwater retention pond then to the neighbors to the south and to the east. So, I'm sorry.
No, you're
I talked
fine.
too
No,
much.
you're fine. No.
No, thank you. And that's what I need to know, because again, I'm gonna, again, and I'll get to you in a minute, guys, but the out parcel is the concern of mine, and what potentially could be on that out parcel, and the potential for the impact on Madeline. So that would be my concern when we talk about traffic. I've been up here for however many years, and I've never thought that storage facilities were this, that, but the reality is they are the least amount of density and the least amount of impact to the road system that there is. So I'm okay with the storage thing. The out parcel is what worries me, dumping out onto Madeline and in that respect. But that's only my concern. Newt?
That's where I was. I was wanting to hear what the traffic program is, what improvements are going to be made with Madeline, at least to the length of this development.
Oh, we want to hear from Roger.
All right.
I knew he brought it. You brought him.
We have the engineer.
we know Roger.
Mr. Chairman, Roger Stricola, 265 Kenilworth Avenue, Ormond Beach. If you'll notice on the site plan, there's approximately 0.35 acres of the north property being donated or conveyed for right-of-way for widening Madeline Avenue. In the initial analysis of this project, and we contacted Volusia County, they provided us a plan of their proposed widening from Madeline Avenue from Nova Road to Jackson Street.
And is there one?
They have a conceptual plan for that, to do that. So that's why on this plan, and we could have increased our storage facility or stormwater pond or green buffer area, but by providing this additional width along, I think it's 35 feet along Jackson Street, and then that gives the county sufficient room on the south side of widen Madeline Avenue. The first driveway in, which would be the westerly driveway into the development, will be a right-in, right-out. The easterly driveway is full access because it'll be away from the turn lanes that are going to be contemplated for the widening of Madeline Avenue at the intersection.
That'd be my concern, is
Yep.
that driveway.
Yep.
As close as it is to the light.
Right. And then the driveway on Nova Road, that driveway has already been
Yeah.
reviewed by DOT, and we're far enough away from the intersection for that. So that's why you'll see that additional 0.35 acres to the north for that widening of Madeline Avenue.
Okay.
All right?
Newt? Hang on, Roger.
Is Madeline a county road?
It's a county road, but it's like, I believe it may be, because in staff report it said it's city maintained, but we've already submitted to the county for a use
Mr.
permit.
Berman?
I'm trying to take our road from us.
In Birmingham Community Development, yes, this section of Madeline Avenue is maintained by the city of Port Orange.
Okay. Newt, anything else?
That's probably as good as we're going to get on that.
Okay. Johnny, questions of this, of all
Just,
these guys?
I understand you had a meeting with the residents, and everything went well. You said 30 people showed up,
Roughly, yeah.
and everything was sorted out, so there's no
Oh, yeah.
conflicting problems with that. The row of houses along the retention pond, you have like people's backyards that are facing into your retention pond area, and you have a you know, a landscape buffer. Now, is there any kind of a height, PVC fence or something that prevents the neighbors from physically walking onto your property? Is there something there?
Yeah.
I don't believe at this time that we're proposing fencing. That comment didn't come up with them, so it's something we can look at. And again, I don't see the harm in trying to work with them, and if there's a fencing need, because most of their concerns were just some of the drainage that they've got existing issues from the age of their development, and what we're trying to assure them and show them, and I think we got their buy-in is that, guys, this is a lot better situation than you probably have given the permitting requirements we got to go through. We can't shed water. We've got to retain any water that's coming on our property.
I'm not.
So
I'm
that
not-
was their focus.
I'm not applying friction to this. I know it's going to create less traffic. And because it's in the corner of Nova, it generates more of a commercial look about it. And that makes sense, especially if it's facing Nova or it's in the Nova area. And it was just my concerns with how they were content. So they could theoretically walk through the buffer into your property. There's no protection from anyone walking onto that premises.
Okay, well, and
If I could.
sure, yeah, of course.
Just our thought process in the design, see the yellow strip that runs?
Yes.
That is a building. And there's landscaping on the backside of that building. And the stormwater retention pond area and the tree preservation area, we were kind of looking at as a park. So that far away across the water, there was landscaping against a wall. And these activities are way away from, just like we're preserving the existing landscaping along the street to the east and putting a building with a wall there and landscaping additional against that wall. The commercial just on the corner is because in the comprehensive plan, this particular intersection is identified as a commercial node in the comprehensive plan. And in fact, the floor area ratio of the overall project is controlled by that commercial node. So it's intended in the comprehensive plan. That's why there's that big dot at the intersection on the comprehensive plan for community commercial sitting here, is because it's supposed to be commercial in that corner. But I mean,
Okay.
we can do a fence, but I think
It's
the neighbors.
It's
you know,
personally just, I'm looking at protection from wandering people walking into your property,
Right.
as well as accessibility from other people walking. Because last one we reviewed, they had a PVC fence up and a barrier to prevent the boats and stuff from people going onto. So it was an inquiring question. I wanted to know in this particular case what you had over there.
Right, and we're happy to reach out to them. I keep in contact with a few of them, so happy to talk it through and just let them know that we're trying to work for them. If the fence is part of this, then happy to discuss it with them, because it just didn't come up. It wasn't something that was a concern necessarily for them at the time. So
Well, the way I was understanding your plan is that your buildings are actually securing
Exactly.
your compound. So
Right.
everything that needs to be
Right.
secured
It's
is
indoors.
secured by
Yeah.
the
building
building
itself.
doesn't need a fence.
Well,
the
even-
building
Johnny,
is
what-
the fence.
even the exterior too. Those one-story buildings are acting as
A buffer.
Yeah.
Right, but Johnny, like what you're asking is these houses to the south, I mean, you
Yeah.
can, if somebody built a McDonald's on this corner, you're gonna walk from your backyard through
Yeah.
the pond to the McDonald's.
I'm looking
What
at,
because some of the other ones, what we did, they were fenced around the perimeter, if you will, so again, people couldn't just walk on to the property
Right.
unsecured, I guess, but
it was more of a concern from the row of houses that were parallel to your retention pond area, the long one, and the tree preservation, that strip. And from their perspective, it looks like they have a larger wooded backyard
Yeah.
from their windows. So it's
Agreed.
actually going to look very appealing. So, and again, it was just protection, accessibility, wandering people.
right.
well, I'm
People
sure
cutting,
that's
making
something the
shortcuts,
developer
so-
can
Okay.
deal with as he
Exactly.
goes. if
That
And
we
again-
recognize
moves
where you're
forward,
coming from, and that as part of this is moving forward, if it becomes
Okay.
an issue,
Okay.
that's
We just ask the neighbors what they want.
Yeah.
Any other questions,
And
Johnny?
give them what they
No,
want.
no, I mean, it looks good, and theoretically, based on what you said, it makes perfect sense. Traffic, Nova, corner lot, I mean, it's fine with me.
Bo?
You know, Nova Road is probably the second fastest racetrack in the area. And, you know, when I look at the driveways that are coming out on the Nova Road, you know, I'm a little concerned about, you know, when you think about the access to other businesses along Nova Road, a right turn going north, you know, every morning when I run that road, you know, there's always potential problems there. And this area right here is really a fast track area. I'm just wondering how it's been addressed as far as.
And I'm going to defer to Roger a little bit, but just to give you a little sense of where I think we're headed with this is that that was part of the reason we put the office at the front there. So, you know, when folks are having to slow down and make just the right in, that's when you're engaging the property, engaging the development, and we're not getting folks coming up to Madeline, making the right, making the next right, getting in, and then wandering to the office. So, you know, there was some effort in trying to just make it as least intrusive as possible to get especially the folks that are trying to get into the facility off the road, take the internal road to get to the facility, and then once you're at the facility, you know, do what you have to do, and then when you're leaving, there's plenty of stacking that you wait for the clearance. So, but again, I'll defer to Roger on this, but that was some of the thought process we were thinking.
Sure. You know, as I mentioned before, we've already had discussions with DOT for the driveway location. It's a right-in, right-out driveway, so there's no cross traffic on northbound on US 1. You're going to go enter into it or egress. Again, you know, the volume generated for trips is relatively low for this type of use. We're sufficiently far enough away from the intersection of Madeline Avenue, which is what DOT was more concerned about. It's not the turns coming in or going out of the driveway. They're more concerned with the activity at the intersection, because there you have full access movement.
Is there a breakdown lane at all into that right turn? Or is it just a right turn?
Well, it's just 3 lanes and
Because
northbound.
it's every bit of 55 mile an hour there.
Yeah,
so,
but
you
I
know.
mean, typically, I mean, when DOT's designed, because I remember when it used to be 2 lanes there, and
Yeah, I don't see a cut at it.
yeah, the outside lane is always intended for right turn movements, right? Because people going north are going to stay in the left 2 lanes.
Yeah.
And so that's why that outside lane is always considered for, you know, right in, right out movements.
Okay.
And the large radius.
Right, and then again, we have the large radius on her also.
Okay.
And when are they gonna widen Madeline Avenue?
It's probably a funding, I have no idea. Yeah,
What,
it's like,
10 years?
I have
maybe?
no, well, hopefully it's sooner than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know.
And, you know, my final concern here is, you know, what's gonna happen to the ducks?
Well, you can see we're constructing a very large pond.
Yeah,
Um,
you gonna herd them into the pond?
yeah.
Yeah.
They'll find it on their own. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, so again, you know, this is one of them deals though, guys, this is a historical piece of Port Orange, and I used to ride horses in that same very field and ride my bike down Jackson Street, man. I raised on Jackson Street, so, you know, it's a shame to see progression, but at the same time, it's, you know, it's a free country and people can do what they want to do with their property, so I think we have a job up here to make the best of what that property is going to be. My thing up here is going to be the least amount of traffic impact, and I think that's where we got right here. Don't get me wrong, I'll still be a little concerned about the corner and what goes on the corner kind of thing. If it's a Dunkin' Donuts that's got cars out in the road kind of thing, but I don't think site plan wise we're going to allow that to happen either. So
Exactly.
I'm confident that you guys are going to build a great product, and by the time you come in front of here, it'll be a good product by the time it comes out to you guys. So, any other comments, questions? Anybody from the public care to speak to it?
Okay.
Christine Cunningham, 150 Sweet Gum Lane. I am one of
Right around
those
the
that live
corner.
right there. My house is the one with the pretty solar panels. He's describing the meeting correctly. The majority of people, it was very well attended, Mayor was there, and they came in rather annoyed, as well as I was, coming in, taking the farm away. And they did a very good presentation. Most of the issues that were brought up were answered. The majority of the concerns were the flooding and the water. But I think when you get down to what the actual problem is with the flooding that they were referring to, it doesn't flood at my house. Okay, that's at a different end than I am, and is actually has nothing to do with the farm. It's got other issues of leveling. So I think everybody's answers were quite, they were all very appreciative of the presentation. The overall thought is the least amount of people on that property, the better. We don't want that it's not that we don't want the people to have homes, but that area is very dangerous. That is a terrible intersection right now. There's still no turn signal where there should be. A couple people have been killed there in the last couple years. So there is a real concern about how many people are going in and out of that property. I've been here since 1986, and I have seen the changes as well. You can only do so much with what we've got. So to have the least amount of entrance and exits that we can possibly tolerate in that area, I think this is the best footprint for us to leave. Going forward, as long as we keep the residents involved, I too am concerned about that little portion that could be something else. That was another concern that the residents, we don't want another car wash, we don't want, I know there's a list, and it's a rather short list of what can go there. So as long as we stand by that and make no more exceptions, so that, like you referred to as a Dunkin' Donuts, if you are on US 1 and you know that Dunkin' Donuts at the Sunshine Mall, they're out in the street. I don't even know how they allow that. That we cannot have on Nova Road. I walk my dog to the dog park almost every morning, and they drive very, very quickly. There's a lot of traffic, and that's with school just being out. So we need to be very attentive to how people come out onto that road and stop. I don't like to take Jackson Street. The Ducks and I have a very good relationship, and so I don't feel Jackson Street should be a go-through. So please consider that, but they did a good job.
And to your point, all these years, there's never been a driveway off of Nova onto that property. For all these years, it's
No.
always been either off of Jackson or off of Madeline. So this new driveway off of Nova is going to be a whole new little.
Robin, can I answer this?
Yeah, if
I'm
you
not
can.
in charge of meetings.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So it's my understanding that Sweet Gum was an access. They closed that off. The city gave it to, now I could be totally the give and take, I don't really know, but literally Sweet Gum was a road that took you to Jackson Street, that took you to Madeline. So there was always that access, and then they put the gate up. So there was. But I turn on to Madeline just
Right.
to not go down Jackson. And sometimes I do feel that people are too close to me as I'm turning onto Madeline because they are going so fast.
Yeah.
So sitting here, it's like, well, is there any way that we could put some sort of turn, an area where we can force a slowdown if necessary? Or
Yeah.
maybe, I
That's
don't
gonna
know
be a
what
DOT issue, unfortunately,
Yeah,
on that
to,
one, but-
to maybe try and change that a little bit to indicate that there is that turn even before you get to that light.
Yeah.
So that would be my suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay, so we have two motions on the floor. If I could get a roll call on the first motion.
Sure. Bo Volkman,
Yes.
John Junko,
Yes.
Ken White,
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes. And on the second, the special exception,
Subject to approval of rezoning of case 22-00000004. I'll say yes.
We already have a motion on that. What?
So approve it pending the approval of the first motion.
Which was approved?
well, the first one's already approved.
Yeah, the 001.
Yes.
Well,
No.
we're on the
No.
second.
No, 00, the 4
Yeah,
was
the
the
other
first.
Right, and then we're doing the 001 now,
Yes.
after the 4 was approved.
Yes.
Pending, okay.
Call the roll, please.
Bo Volkman,
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
End of an era.
Yep.
And I was shocked to see a gate on T. Jackson when I was there visiting with the ducks and the goats. And I guarantee you it will be closed.
Make it look good out there, sir.
Yes, sir, will do.
We're counting on you.
Take care of those ducks.
All right. John Trost, what are you doing here? I mean, you're not coming up, I guess? Okay. We'll let you get out of here. Yeah.
We keep good company.
All right. Case number 21-500003, Town West subdivision to subdivide 12.41 acres into 2 commercial lots. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve case number 21-50000003.
Second.
Okay.
Have a motion and a second? Gwen, Bernie.
Gwen Party Planner. So the applicant is requesting to subdivide approximately 12 acres into 2 commercial lots. The proposed plat will create a 10.5 acre lot for the 115 unit Town West Senior Living Apartments, which is currently under staff review, and the approximately 1.8 acre out parcel. And there is no end user identified at this time for the out parcel. The proposed plat is essentially a paper plat to create the out parcel lot. All the required infrastructure improvements are provided on the 10 acre lot with the utilities and cross access stubbed out to the out parcel. The out parcel remain vacant and wooded until the time it is developed, and staff has reviewed the subdivision plat for consistency with the requirements of the code and is recommending approval. Any questions?
So this is just to subdivide that out parcel off of this other lot, is that correct?
Yeah.
That's all we're talking about here.
Yes.
Questions, Newt?
The senior living facility is already underway, or
It's currently under staff review.
Under staff review.
They're actually getting ready to get their development order, I believe.
So that's a go, if you will?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just to carve out that lot 1 future commercial out parcel, which will be in accordance with the planned commercial or planned community agriculture zoning district for the size, and then the permitted uses are listed in at the back of your staff report.
John?
No, I mean, it's basically just cutting a little slice out of the pie there so that you have more use for it. And they don't seem that the assisted living facility doesn't really creep onto that, so I guess they did it with intentions of doing this in the future. No, I don't have any questions.
Bo?
I'm good.
Okay.
And the applicant's representatives here,
All right.
if you have questions.
Come on up. You gotta clock in to get paid, right?
Something like that. It's always a pleasure to be over here. For the record, Mike Woods with Cobb Cold, 231 North Woodland Boulevard. I'm over in our DeLand office most times. Happy to answer any questions you may have. It's been a while since I've had a straight plat like this go forward, and to have the carve-out lot, if you will, on the corner, you can see in the staff report, it easily meets all your lot size dimensions by a good bit there. So no issues with an undersized or even just barely right-sized lot. They'll have room to work with that. And that's pretty much all I have, unless you have any other additional questions.
Questions, Bo? Newt?
No.
Johnny?
Nope.
No? Okay. No, thank you. That was it.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public care to speak about it? Call the roll, please.
Bo Gopherman.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes. 4-0. All right. Item number 8. Come on. Case number 22-250004, LDC Amendment, Chapter 13, Section 4, Chapter 17, Section 24. Gideon?
Move to approve case number 22-500004.
Second.
Have a motion and a second?
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Gideon Smith, Planning. 2 chapters of the Land Development Code are proposed to be amended and are intended to assist with attracting businesses to the Eastport Business Park and other industrial areas throughout the city. So the first proposed amendment is to amend Chapter 13, the Landscaping and Buffers section, to allow flexibility in parking lot design for uses in the light industrial and commercial industrial zoning districts. The second proposed amendment is to amend Chapter 17, the zoning district regulation chapter, to add wholesalers and distributors as a permitted use in the light industrial zoning district. So to start with the first proposed amendment, under the current code, all new developments within the city must design their parking lots and loading areas, what we call the vehicular use area, to have at least 10% of the area made of internal landscaping, which consists of terminal landscape islands at the end of your parking rows or interior landscape islands in between parking spaces. So at times these interior landscape areas can make it difficult for larger vehicles to maneuver through any given site. The proposed amendment is to allow more efficient parking lot and loading areas in an effort to increase the functionality of industrial operations, and also to assist in attracting businesses to the area by reducing upfront costs for site construction and also costs associated with repairs whenever the landscape areas are damaged by vehicles. Land Development Code currently requires developments in the Ridgewood Development Zone District to dedicate 5% of the vehicular use area to internal landscaping in lieu of the standard 10%, and it also exempts vehicular use areas that are not visible from public rights-of-way from this calculation. So the proposed amendment would just mimic what's currently permitted in the Ridgewood Development Zoning District and apply it to new developments in the light industrial and commercial industrial zoning district. So really what this can do is allow sites to be designed where the landscaping is kind of focused at the front, where you generally have your customers park and you're more visible from public rights of ways, and it frees up some space towards the sides and the rear to give more room for vehicles, trucks, forklifts, truck deliveries to maneuver around the site more freely. So we'll move on to the second proposed amendment, which would add wholesalers and distributors as a permitted use on the light industrial zone district, as well as any other zoning district that allow light industrial uses within. There are a couple places throughout the city, 2 lots in the Crystal Light Plan Unit Development, and then a couple areas in the Planned Community Area Agriculture District over on South Williamson. The use is already permitted in the commercial industrial zone district and the Ridgewood Development District. The light industrial zone district is intended for a more intense use than those other 2 districts, so staff feels it's an appropriate use to add to the light industrial zoning district. And again, it's the amendments are proposed to assist with attracting businesses to the area. It's also consistent with the Eastport Park Community Redevelopment Area Plan for job growth, job opportunity, and it can also assist with relocating businesses, within and to Port Orange. And with that concludes my presentation. Staff's available for any questions.
Okay, I mean, I think this is a great idea, and I like every bit of it. I'm all about the landscape and being around the perimeter type of thing anyway, because a lot of times in the industrial areas, this landscape gets beat to death, and it's, so I think this is a pretty good idea. Newt?
That's mirrors my thought. I was wondering if this is going to change anything in some retail spaces where shopping centers. You drive around and you notice a lot of places where the trucks come in, they wind up pulling the tandems over, or they're sitting there for 20 minutes while all the cars decide to figure out how to get out of the way. Mm-hmm. Is that going to be any change in that, or is this just in our
It would only apply
industrial
to
parks?
It would only apply to commercial industrial and light industrial. So if there are any office uses, in those zoning districts, any new proposals, they would be able to utilize this if it's approved. But your general retail and other zoning districts, that this would not apply.
Would they be able to retrofit, or when they redesign the parking? Or
Yeah, only in the 2.
Only in
districts.
these areas.
That's correct. Yeah.
I like that.
These areas.
Okay, so they could fix it.
Johnny?
Well, considering I live in a parking lot, I've witnessed a lot of difficulties with some semi-truck drivers trying to back in, and an island in the back that's not visible is just an obstruction for these poor guys. So if they're carefully reviewed and done in the front where it's visible, that's fine. And if it's in the back and it gives a semi-truck or a delivery truck more access to back in there without having to go around the island, I'm all for it. So it just makes perfect sense.
Makes good sense.
I wish they would review that in more areas, because theoretically, just easeability for semi-trucks. I've literally witnessed a semi-truck taking 15 minutes to back in, because they just honestly, I don't think they were good semi-truck drivers.
Well, most of the time, they're gonna run over them plants and
But,
run over that
oh
island,
yeah,
and damage
yeah,
the
no,
island and
the
everything
tires
else,
go
so.
over the curb, going over the mulch. They don't care.
Yeah.
So
But-
you stand there and watch them for 15 minutes?
I have a camera. I just sit there and nod my head.
Sits on the other side of his moat.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but you witness it and you understand it better. So,
The only question I have is, what is the current ratio of disability spaces to open parking? Do you know?
Let's stay on this subject, and we'll hit that one on staff comments, if that's okay.
All right,
Or-
sure.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. Any other questions on this issue, though?
No.
On this
No.
particular issue? These two issues? That being done, anybody from the audience? No?
Bobo Freeman.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Kenneth White.
Yes.
Dennis Green.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, with that being said, commissioner comments. Now you can ask that question.
I can answer that question.
Come on up, Tim. You know you're going to get asked. Come on up.
I'll have to email that to you tomorrow. I don't have that ratio off the top of my head. I know we
I forgot the question.
basically
How many
how many
handicap
ADA
spots
spaces you
per-
need per parking then.
Yeah.
I can get that tomorrow. We've got a standard construction
I
detail.
was just wondering, with the revisions that you're making with this amendment.
No, they won't impact at all. They still have to
Okay.
meet those requirements there. We're just kind of minimizing the amount of landscaping in the parking lot, but the parking requirements are not changing at all.
Yeah, there was some relevance there.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Anything for Tim?
Congratulations on going online with the new website. Is that also carrying over to online permitting, or is that still?
That was mainly like a lot with IT, basically getting the website up there then, and then our software system, we're continuing to test it and validate it then, having to go through everything then. So we're trending toward basically the late summer then, when we
Okay.
go online with that then. But right now we're trying to go through it all to make sure when you use it, it is correct.
It's been years.
Well,
I had hair when we started.
They said
I know.
Well-
they said midsummer last summer.
Wow.
Now, here's the interesting thing. The county is going through that transfer right now as we speak. So some of my permits were paper submitted and others were online. And then Ormond Beach is strictly online. But the thing to a stupid contractor is every software is different. Everyone's got to relearn the application
Right.
to submit a permit online. Everything will be required to be digitally sealed and only digitally sealed, correct?
Correct.
Another website to learn. Okay.
Welcome to the portal.
Oh, and then they say they're saving paper, but then you got to print it all up to put in a permit box.
Correct.
So
We're saving paper.
you're saving paper, yeah.
Yeah,
Your
right
office,
now you are.
Yeah, your office is. Yes, they say, okay, print up all these PDF files and the blueprints and stick it in your permit box. So.
Bo,
All right.
we should welcome him to our world of having.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here going, wow.
Tree killers.
All right,
There's no
that's
idea.
all I
What's
have to
going on
say.
with the restaurant down there? How they looking?
Fish? Yeah.
We're moving along pretty nicely. I don't know if anyone, you look through the city manager's update, but we every week we update on there. It is starting to turn the corner since they kind of changed contractors back in, I think, March or February then.
They did change
Yeah,
contractors.
it's
Okay, I
someone
thought
new in
something
charge
was
of it
going
on the site then, and that's where a lot of the changes made there. When you drive by, I think every day the exterior is changing, and just the same as in terms of the
Yeah,
inside.
it's looking
then.
nice.
They've got a lot of the the tiling and stuff like that completed then. Kitchen's pretty much waiting for the equipment to come in. So we continue to work with the contractor, trying to see when we can give them that temporary CO. That's what we're trying to work for. That way they can start doing the training then. But our staff is out there pretty much inspections every day. We're trying to find out how we can assist that to get it done as soon as possible.
Yeah, but if they don't have equipment, you're not going to get a fire. You're not
They're
gonna get a
saying
fire
that basically
inspection
they have the
till-
equipment already stored in this
Okay.
area then. So it's just a matter of bringing it over then once the facility's set then. So that's why we're trying to work with them as much as we can.
Because like
we want
woods
to
and
see that.
Ansel systems
You
and
may
all that
not
take a
know
long
this.
time, but
Curious, my labs would like to know if there's a dog-friendly environment in that area outside. I walk there all the time.
it's in the
so-
river.
So I'd love to know if
Take 'em
you
in your
can
boat.
actually bring dogs up. Whoa.
Okay, any preliminary things from the Bristol company yet on?
We continue to have discussions with them. They're focusing right now on trying to acquire those out parcels that basically were not part of the city's property. They kind of complete their design. We know from talking to their consultants that they have hired in terms of surveyors, geotech, they're doing a lot of work on that stuff, gathering the information so they can basically kind of prepare those plans to bring toward us then.
But if they can't obtain those properties, they're not anywhere yet? Or is
I
that what
believe
you're
they
saying?
basically have purchased one of the properties and are close to purchasing the other property, basically the mower shop and the one next door to that then, which they're looking for, and then they're kind of talking with the other 4 out there then. But basically they are continuing to do the design work, basically their plans then, and we anticipate that coming into us in the fall then.
Potentially, could that be a holdup of the whole project though? Is those 4 properties?
Not those 4 properties. The
Okay.
ones that they're basically kind of the ones over by Herbert Street, those would not hold the project up then.
Okay.
It's a matter of them just getting all the information they need to in terms of the stormwater reports and stuff like that there to prepare the plans to bring that they're currently working on now, which is typical with what we see with all the projects.
Okay. So I see up on Madeline where the Dairy Queen opened and all that, and the land clearing to the south of that is the new another
That's
the
the Hawks Mill
complex?
Apartments that we had. I
Everything's
think we
going
did-
good there. And
Everything's going good there. What you see out there now, basically in terms of vegetation left, is what's going to be remaining. So they're done clearing there.
there wasn't nothing there. It was all burnt down.
Well, we say the ones that didn't burn down.
Yeah, okay. All right. Any other questions of Tim? Staff comment. Tim, you got anything for us?
Just a reminder that the Planning Commission next month in July, we had a few months ago, it had moved up from the July 28th to July 21st then. So it would be the 3rd Thursday.
Do we have items that you know of it?
For that?
Make sure you let me know if you can't make it, or you're gonna be late, please.
Do we have items that you know are coming up on that agenda already or no?
We're currently looking, we may have 2 items on that one then. We're still, looking through that then. But once we know if there's no items on there, we'll notify you as quick as possible then.
I mean, is your budget going to pay us for last month's meeting that we didn't have?
No.
Okay, perfect. All right. Any public comments? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second. I'll make a motion.